Hello, the name is Daman Dev Sood. My weekly show, my top tips, my apologies. I couldn't do this yesterday because of an early meeting with the client. So the day's delays. Otherwise, it's Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. IST. The world recently saw a big event about 10 days ago, the CrowdStrike event. I'm not sure whether it was an incident or whether it remained as an incident or it became a crisis for anyone. Easily we could say, because global impact was faced, that it was a crisis or global crisis. But I'm not still sure. It is not said to be an act of cyber attack. I would still say a cyber failure. Cyber to me is IT. I've been recently writing my 10th book, my experiments with third-party risk management. I just finished writing it when this event, CrowdStrike event, happened, and it forced me to write another one, and the longest one, actually. A cyber event, cyber failure, IT disaster or crisis. Many of us across globe, and for decades perhaps, would have written this, at least would have said this orally, that in case of technology failure, we will go manual. We have manual workarounds in place. I guess not tested or not tested well. So I sat down to think about this, and that's how that last chapter was added in the book. Analyzing, exploring, experimenting, whether a process can actually be done manually and how, in case technology fails. Again, before I go deep into that, this event, CrowdStrike event, whether and how is this linked with the third-party risk management? So CrowdStrike is a third party to all of us. Normally, when we discuss third-party risk management, we say third-party failing, due to which we get impacted. In this case, surprisingly, strangely, the third party was not impacted. CrowdStrike was not. Not known to me whether they also use Microsoft Windows and whether they also went down. And that is an area of investigation, actually, a big area of investigation. But because of that third party, we all, the rest of the world, failed. So that's why I'm linking this with the third party risk management. I picked up 10 different industry sectors and one process from each of those and attempted to explore this. Few days ago, I posted one of those on LinkedIn, so that is available. And today I'm going to pick up another one. So for today's discussion, it's power grid management in a power company. So power grid management relies heavily on advanced technology systems for monitoring, control, and distribution of electricity. This analysis examines the feasibility of reverting to manual operations during technological outages and the associated challenges and risks. To start with, quick look at the current process and dependencies. Power grid management depends on advanced technology systems for real-time monitoring. So please keep in mind real-time monitoring, load balancing, fault detection, and outage management. These systems include hardware like servers and sensors, software like SCADA systems, and third-party services, maybe cloud services, cybersecurity, etc., maintained by skilled IT engineers personnel. and maybe non-IT as well. Sub-processes such as grid planning, operational efficiency, fault detection, demand response, emergency recovery, and regulatory compliance also rely on historical data. Once again, keep in mind, please, historical data. So if you want to move this process, power grid management, to manual operations, quick look, there will be four major steps. Monitoring and grid conditions using physical gauges, and instruments. Do we have those? Are these in working condition? Do we know how to use those manually? Because it's all automated these days. Second step would be manual load balancing, coordinating load distribution via phone calls and written logs. How do we make that phone call? What do we say? What do we tell? What do we ask? Do we have log sheets? What do we log? Big questions. Third step will be fault detection and outage management, manual inspections and coordinations. And fourth would be record keeping, documenting parameters on paper forms. So then quick look at challenges. I'll have said a couple of those already while speaking about the steps, but with challenges and risk, I have a long list. Challenge and risks of manual operations of power grid management process. Lack of real-time data, so that real-time was important. Imbalances and outages due to the inability to monitor and control the grid in real time. Possible outages, in the worst case, blackouts of cities, countries, perhaps multinational also. Human error, increased inaccuracies, time consuming, and this human error, by the way, before I go to time consumption, human error can be knowingly and unknowingly, by mistake also. It's going to be time consuming also because manual processes are slower. Tool maintenance, challenges in availability, calibration, sorry, and maintenance of manual tools. Coordination, difficulties in team coordination and response delays. Data sharing, inefficiencies due to miscommunication. Manual recording, absence and usage challenges of OCR forms. This is my suggestion that even if you want to do anything manual today, that should be on a pre-designed OCR form so that once the systems are up, this data is easily transformed into the systems once again. The last challenge or risk I'm saying is reintegration, labor-intensive and error-prone digitization of manually recorded data after the systems are up, technology is up once again. So feasibility analysis told me that manual power grid management is feasible, very difficult, but inefficient and risky, highly risky. Concerns include human error, time consumption, coordination issues, and reintegration burdens. With the possibility of, while we are doing any manual, even if we are able to do any manual operations of this process, possibility of blackouts due to failure of this manual operation also. So my recommendations are that utilities companies should focus on robust IT disaster recovery plans, business continuity plans, crisis management plans, crisis communication plans, quick restoration of power grid systems, regular backups of critical grid management information. Very easy to say this point, backup, but it's not backup only, it's the capability of restoration also. Training staff on emergency protocols and temporary measures. In this, in my analysis, I wanted to touch upon ethical legal considerations also. So utilities companies must consider whether they can ethically or legally halt operations, because that's what I'm saying. If technology goes, it's very, very difficult to go manual with this process, which means we need to halt. But can we ethically and legally? That needs to be thought in peace times, not in war times. So BCM crisis, etc., is not only for that period when we have failed. It starts much before that and it continues beyond that also. So my concluding remarks on this power grid management process in the utilities sector are that transitioning to manual operations is impractical unless simultaneously maintained with digital records, which is unreasonable. So one point was that this process needs historical data. When we go manual, what I'm doing currently, I can record in whichever format I can record on paper. But where is that historical data? If I actually want to go manual with this, then every day, every night, morning, evening, afternoon, I need to take a print of that historical data to keep with me readily available. Then only I will be able to use it when I need to use it manually, access it manually. It could be 100 sheets, 1,000 sheets, million sheets. I'm not even able to think that. So realistic expectations for downtime and robust IT disaster recovery plans, business continuity plan, crisis management, and crisis communication plans are crucial for utility companies, their customers, and stakeholders. Minimizing downtime and preparing staff for outages are key to effective grid management. Setting and managing correct, appropriate expectations is very important. We should have told our customers that there is a possibility of this type, then when we may go down. While we are doing a lot, if we are doing a lot to prevent that downtime, but it can happen. That's what the concept of business continuity management is. So this discussion highlights the importance of resilience in IT systems and the need for comprehensive emergency preparedness. With this, I would like to close today's discussions. My weekly show, my top tips every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. IST. These weeks, I've been delivering these from Abu Dhabi. Today, we discussed about going manual on power grid management process in utilities sector, which appears to be difficult, very, very difficult. I hope to see you every Wednesday at the same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.